The Schiller Hotel's fancy hallway shone like melted gold under soft orange lights at midnight. Zarok, Woody's shoes clicked super fast on the stone floors as she hurried to meeting room 12. Arms full of papers for translating. About to drop any second. Late again. Awesome. She turned the corner quick and bumped chest first into what felt like a wall covered in fancy cloth and tough guy vibes. Papers flew up like scared birds. Zara looked up and up into the coldest, most super pretty eyes she'd ever seen. Kim Johak stood there in a fitted Tom Ford suit that probably costs more than her rent each month. Face like frozen stone, but it wasn't his face that made her breath stop. It was the stuff behind him. A woman in a tight red dress pushed against the wall, lipstick messy, basically hanging on another guy in Wok's group. The guys were laughing. That special kind of guy laugh that said they liked the attention, the power, the fun. Wok's lips curved a bit, clearly having fun watching it. Something hot and yucky twisted in Zara's chest. She'd seen this before. Guys like this. Guys who treated women like stuff to wear, like wins, like playth. Watch where you're going, she grumbled in Korean, bending to pick up her messy papers. The words came out before she could stop them. Druhan, Namjamanhar. The air got super still. Those cold eyes turned to her, suddenly hot with something scary and kinda funny. He moved closer, stalking, really, getting in her space until she could smell his cologne, wood and something darker, more wild. Say that again, he ordered in perfect fancy Korean that made her tummy flip. His voice was soft cloth around a knife, close and scary, all at once. Slower. Zara's heart pounded hard against her chest. Every feeling yelled danger, but she'd learned long ago that backing down only made bad guys chase more. She stood tall, met his eyes without blinking. You heard me. For 3 super long seconds W just stared, then something changed in his face. Confusion flashing across those perfect looks. His pulse jumped at his neck. Heat filled his chest. When her hand accidentally touched his wrist, reaching for a dropped paper, sparks shot through him so strong he actually stepped back. What the heck? For the first time in 7 years, his body reacted to a woman. He got better quick, putting his mask back on. Who are you? Nobody you need to remember, Zara said coolly, picking up her papers and walking away without looking back. But Wook was already remembering everything. Her jasmine and shea butter smell, those brave dark eyes, the sing-song tilt of her Korean accent, the way her voice made his dead heart skip a beat he'd forgotten it could do. Behind him, Dahan appeared, boffed. The meeting. Cancel it, Wook said quietly, still watching her go around the corner. What? I said cancel it. Before we continue, smash that subscribe button and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. You won't believe what happens when these two can't stay away from each other. And when he discovers the truth, that'll destroy them both. Zara's hands still shook a little as she finished the interpreting job 40 minutes later. She couldn't stop thinking about those eyes, that voice, the way her skin had tingled when he'd stepped close. Get it together, Zara. He's just another stuck-up rich guy. But the lie tasted yucky, even in her own head. The Uber ride back to her tiny Itaewon apartment gave her too much time to think. Too much time to remember why she'd sworn off guys exactly like Kim Joek, if that was even his real name. 6 months ago, she'd run from Lagos with 2 suitcases, a broken heart, and a reputation all messed up. The memory still hurt. Zara Chuck Woody, former tech whiz, maker of Recognize, a face-spotting software she made with such hope, such goal. It was meant to help hospitals find lost Alzheimer's patients, to bring lost kids back to parents, to save lives. Instead, it had wrecked hers. When Prometheus Tech bought her small company, she'd been dumb enough to believe their promises about growing helpful uses. She'd signed the papers, took the money, celebrated with bubbly wine. 3 months later, news hit. Her software had been turned bad, sold to bad groups across 3 big lands, used to hunt people, stalk victims, kill targets. Her fiancé Chetty had looked at her with grossed-out eyes. You did this. You created a monster. I didn't know. You should have known. Her family in Lagos stopped answering calls. Her mom's last words. How could you bring this shame on us? Seoul had been a desperate getaway, a place where nobody knew her name, her face, her mess. Now she worked 3 jobs just to pay for her tiny apartment, interpreting gigs, freelance tech advice for new companies, teaching basic coding to high school kids on weekends. She sent money home each month, sorry stuff her family never said thanks for. Her phone buzzed. Amara girl, you alive? You were supposed to text me after the hotel job. Z alive. Traumatized. Met the most annoying man. Oh, details now. Zara, tomorrow. Too tired to relive it. Amara, this better be good. Also, reminder, no Korean men. They'll charm you silly and leave you crying into soup. Trust me, this one's definitely off limits. She fell asleep, still thinking about cold eyes that had somehow burned. Across the city, Kim Jok stood at his fancy top-floor window, looking over Seoul's shiny skyline, whiskey glass hanging from nice fingers. He couldn't stop thinking about her. Why? For 7 years since Jaime's killing, his body had been dead below the waist. Not body-wise, the doctors had checked everything. Mind-wise, they'd said, hurt caused cut off. His brain keeping him safe from weakness after he'd failed to keep his brother safe. Wu had learned to live with it, built a big business on being hard to touch. Women threw themselves at him all the time. Pretty women, smart women, women who knew what they wanted. He'd gotten good at nice no thanks. The careful keeping of his name without real stuff. The great woke the wolf Dune, teased sometimes made of ice below the belt. Wok liked it that way. In their world, feelings were bad things. Love was a weak spot that got people killed. He'd watched his brother fall in love, watched Jam become soft, distracted, open to hurt, and when the attack came, Jamin had been at his girlfriend's place instead of the safe spot. 1 bullet, gone. Ward held his baby brother's body and sworn, never again, never let anyone close enough to make him weak. For 7 years, he'd kept that promise until tonight. Until a fiery Nigerian woman had called him a man _imperfect, Korean, and somehow impossibly made his dead body wake up loud. His phone buzzed. Dunboff, you good? You haven't a meeting in 3 years. I'm fine. This about the woman. The interpreter. Wok didn't answer, which was answer enough. Whatever you're thinking, don't. You don't chase women. They chase you. That's the rule. Wok set his phone down, took a long drink of whiskey. Rules he was beginning to realize were about to become irrelevant. Across the room, his cousin Minz worked quietly at her laptop, checking his group's online safety nets. She looked up, saw his not pink. Opper, everything all right? Fine, he said, but they both knew he was lying. 3 days later, Zara stood in the stone lobby of the Grand Intercontinental, checking her phone for the meeting room job. Another interpreting gig, this time for a tech money summit. The pay was great, which meant she could finally fix her laptop's bad battery. She fixed her blue jacket, tucked a loose braid behind her ear, and went toward the moving stairs. The summit big room buzzed with fancy energy. Guys in fitted suits grouped around tall tables, talking about values and market stuff. Zara found her spot near the stage, testing her headset and going over tech words. Across the room, Kim Jok sat at a special table with 3 Japanese money people talking about online safety setups. He was mid-sentence when movement near the stage caught his eye. Blue jacket, dark skin, those special braids. His words stopped in his mouth. Her, woke, see. One of the money guys leaned forward, worried. Are you all right? Wook's chest had tightened. His pulse pounded. Just from seeing her across a busy room, his body was reacting. Heat building low in his tummy, tingles across his skin. This had never happened. Not once in 7 years. He needed to understand why. Needed to understand her. Fine, he managed, pulling his eyes away. Continue, but he couldn't focus. Every bit in his body followed her moves. The way she fixed her headset. The work confidence in her stand. The moment she laughed at something a work buddy said. The summit went on for 90 minutes. What contributed? Nothing useful. When the last speaker finished, he was on his feet right away, going through the crowd toward the elevators where he'd Zara heading. She stood waiting, looking at her phone. No idea he was coming. Miss Chuck Woody. She turned. Knowing flickered on her face. followed by something that looked a lot like annoyance. She rolled her eyes. Manwh, we meet again. His lips moved a bit, almost a smile. Wook, my name is Wook. I prefer my version. The elevator dinged. She stepped in. He went with her. Have dinner with me. No, she didn't even wait. Why not? Because guys who look like you and boss rooms like you are nothing but trouble. She pushed the lobby button. Smart woman. He stepped closer, getting in her space just a little. Have dinner with me anyway. Still no. The doors slid closed. Suddenly they were alone in the going down elevator, and the air felt thick enough to choke on. Zara's jasmine smell wrapped around him. His fingers wanted to touch her. I'm not used to hearing no, he said quietly. She met his eyes straight. Then this will be good for your character growth. Quiet, stretched between them. Full, scary, sparky. One dinner, W said finally. I'll answer any question you ask. No games. And if at the end you want to leave, I'll never bother you again. Zara looked at him, really looked under the cold outside. She saw something surprising. Loneliness? Maybe. Tiredness? Something that matched what she felt when she looked in the mirror. Being curious. One dinner. You try anything. I know 7 ways to pop out a shoulder. This time, his smile was real. Super pretty. Changing everything. Like watching ice break to show sun under. Noted. The elevator doors opened. She stepped out without looking back, but her heart beat fast like a traitor. Tomorrow night, he called after her. I'll pick you up at 7. You don't know where I live. Yes, I do. She should have been creeped out by that. Instead, something warm spread in her chest. Darn it. Walk stood in the lobby, watching her leave, that new warmth still going through his body. He was smiling. Really smiling, when Minso appeared beside him. Her voice was tight. I found something, that face-spotting software that was used to track Jamin. I finally found the first maker. His smile went away. The warmth left his body, like someone opened a drain. Humio gave him her tablet, a file, tech papers, and there, a photo from a tech talk group. Zara Chuckwoody, main maker, Prometheus Tech Solutions, the woman who just agreed to dinner. The woman who made him feel alive for the first time in 7 years was the same woman whose thing had killed his brother. Wok stared at the screen until the words got blurry. His chest felt empty, his hands steady, even with the quake inside him. Young Mio touched his arms soft. What do you want me to do? He gave back the tablet, his face blank on purpose. Nothing yet, but I said nothing. His voice went cold. The wolf's voice. Cancel my meetings tomorrow. All of them. M watched him walk away, worry on her forehead. If she'd looked closer at the file on her tablet, she might have noticed something weird. Signs showing someone had looked at these records before. Lately, over and over. But she didn't look closer, and Wook didn't see her small, happy smile. The rooftop eatery was fancy enough that it didn't have a name, just a private elevator code, and a view that made Seoul look like a blanket of stars at their feet. Zara tried not to stare wide, failed. This is too much, she said. Wook pulled out her chair. I wanted somewhere we could talk without stops, or somewhere nobody can hear me scream, if you're secretly a killer who kills lots. That too. His eyes shone with fun. She laughed even though, and something in his chest got loose. Dinner started careful. Zara kept her answers not clear when he asked about her work, her past. She talked around the bad stuff without saying it. Losing herself in a job that blew up, coming to Seoul for a new start, building from zero. And you? She asked, sipping wine that probably cost more than her rent. What do you do when you're not being mysterious and rich? I run a safety advice company, he said half-dra. I protect people. From what? From other people like me. She laughed, that full no-guard sound that made his pulse skip. He watched her like she was the only thing in the world, listing every look, every move. When she reached for her water glass, he caught her hand. That sparked shock again, stronger now, on purpose. His breath stopped loud. What is it? She asked, seeing the way his eyes got bigger. You, he said true. You do something to me I can't explain. Is that a line? No. His thumb drew circles on her wrist. It's scary. The open weak spot in his voice undid her. She turned her hand, linked their fingers right. Maybe we're both scared. By the time he drove her home, something had changed. The air between them felt alive, full of maybe and danger the same. At her apartment door, he held her face with both hands, like holy, can I kiss you? You're asking okay. That's new for a man _only with you, he said soft. Everything's different with you. She kissed him first, soft, testing a question. He groaned like she'd hurt him and pulled her closer, making it deeper into an answer. Years of being alone poured into that kiss from both of them, needy and hungry and super sweet. When they stopped, both out of breath, she touched her lips, wondering, that was I know. The next week happened like a hot dream. Coffee meets where she taught him Yoruba words. Manwhore means I love you, but don't get any ideas. And he taught her Korean slang that made Amara hold her tummy laughing when Zara used it wrong by mistake. Late night phone talks that lasted until sunup. Voices rough with tiredness and something deeper. Him showing up at her apartment at midnight with Nigerian food from a place Amara had said. Watching her eyes go soft with missing home and thanks. Her surprising him at his office with homemade jollof rice. Awful, not enough spice, almost can't eat. He ate every bite while Dahian watched in surprise. Stolen kisses in his car, against elevator walls, in the dark corners of parking spots. Each one made his body wake up loud, made him feel like a person again. One rainy Thursday night, she showed up at his top floor, wet, having walked from the train in a sudden rain. He wrapped her in his shirt, made her tea, pulled her onto his couch. They sat in comfy quiet, her curled against his side, his fingers playing with her braids. Tell me something real, she said quiet. Something you don't tell anyone. He was quiet for so long, she thought he wouldn't answer. Then I had a younger brother Jaman. He was everything good. I'm not kind, dreamy, believed people could change. His voice got rough. He was killed 7 years ago, and I couldn't keep him safe. Her heart broke. She sat up, held his face. Wook. Since then, I haven't been able to feel, not right. He met her eyes. Until you, she kissed him. Soft, gentle, fixing. You feel lots to me. That night they made love for the first time. It was strong, pats full of feeling, needy, two people sinking and finding air in each other. After, he held her like she might go away, face in her neck. Don't leave, he whispered. I'm not going anywhere, she promised. But Wook lay awake long after she fell asleep, looking at the ceiling. Every day he fell deeper. Every day the truth got heavier. And every day he became more sure that when she learned what he knew, she would leave anyway. 2 months later, Zara had never been happier. She'd fit into Wook's life in ways that felt both normal and magic. Dahan liked her lots. Finally, someone who doesn't worship Wook. You're good for him, Zari, and took every chance to share funny stories from Wook's young days. Minso was warm but watching. Always there during their dinners at the top floor, always asking smart questions about Zara's tech stuff. Zara liked the interest, thinking it was real curious. This special Thursday afternoon, Zara had come to Wook's top floor to wait while he went to an urgent meeting downtown. He'd kissed her bye, told her to make herself at home, treat his space like hers. She'd sat on his couch with her laptop, planning to answer some advice emails. But her laptop's battery died again, and W had told her a dozen times to use his computer when she needed. His MacBook sat open on the desk, password already in. She pulled up her email, fingers fast on the keys, almost done when a pop-up came in the corner. A file alert from Minso, updated Chukwi background check, face spotting software timeline. Zara's fingers stopped on the keys. Background check. Her blood got cold. She shouldn't click it. She knew she shouldn't. She clicked it. The file opened like a cut. Her photo, the one from the Prometheus tech site. She'd begged them to take down her full bio, her school history, job records, and then the tech papers. Detailed look at recognized safes build. It's sale to bad groups. It's turning to weapon. Page after page of bad uses. Her eyes got blurry. She scrolled numb. Then she saw it, yellow marked important. Software sure used in killing of Kim Jamin 2018. Face spotting data matched with camera footage. Target followed for 72 hours before hit. Software start, Prometheus Tech Solutions. The room spun. No, 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 no. But there was more. File times. The first background check had been done 3 months ago, updated weekly since, before their first date, before their first kiss, before she'd fallen all the way. Can't go back in love with him. He knew, he's known the whole time. The sound of the top floor door opening felt like a gunshot. Zara Wook's voice stopped quick. She turned. He stood still in the door, eyes on the laptop screen, and she watched his face lose color. He knew just what she'd found. How long? Her voice sounded weird to her, far, broken. How long have you known? He closed his eyes like he hurt. Since the day we met. The yes was a knife in her chest. You knew. She stood, backing away from him without thinking. You knew who I was, what I'd made, what it did to your brother, and you went after me anyway. It's not like that. Then what is it like, Wook? Her voice broke, tears hot down her face. Was this payback? Make me fall in love with you so you could wreck me. Make me trust you, open to you, give you everything. No. He stepped forward, hands up. Zara, please don't touch me. She jumped back hard. That jump broke something in him. She saw it happen, watched his face fall apart before he caught it. Please, he said rough, just listen. At first, I wanted answers. I needed to get who made the thing that killed Jamin. But then I got to know you, the real you, and I fell. You lied. The words came out hard. Every day, every kiss, every time you held me, and I thought I was safe. You were safe. You are safe, with you. She laughed, and it sounded crazy. I was falling in love with you, and you were what? Checking me, getting proof. I was trying to keep you safe. Keep Wook me. She grabbed her bag with shaky hands. God, I'm so dumb. I really thought you were different. I thought what we had was real. It is real. His voice broke everything between us is real. I love you, Zara Don't. She held up a shaky hand. Don't you dare say that now. It's the truth. Your truth is bad stuff. She put on her bag, going toward the door. I made something that killed your brother. Even if I didn't know, even if I didn't mean to, I still did it. And you made me love you knowing that. How am I supposed to live with either of those things? Zara, wait. He moved to block her way. I can't. Cries stopped her words. I can't look at you. I can't breathe around you. Everything we had, everything I thought we had, it's all built on lies. She pushed past him, running for the elevator. This time he didn't follow. He just stood there in his empty top floor, wrecked, listening to the elevator doors close on the only woman who'd ever made him feel alive. 2 weeks later, Zara hardly knew herself in the mirror. Amara's extra bedroom had become her jail. She couldn't go back to her apartment. Too many memories. Couldn't sleep without dreaming of Wook's hands on her skin, his voice whispering promises that had all been lies. You need to eat something, Amara said, soft, putting down a plate of jollof rice. Babe, you're getting too thin. I'm not hungry. You haven't been hungry in 14 days. Amara sat on the bed, rubbing Zara's back. Talk to me, please. What's there to say? Zara's voice was empty. I fell in love with a guy who was using me. I made something that killed his brother. There's no coming back from that. Maybe he really does love you. It doesn't matter, Amara. Zara turned, eyes red around. Don't you get it? Even if every word he said was true, even if he loves me, I killed his brother. How do we come back from that? Amara had no answer. Zara couldn't code anymore, couldn't look at her laptop without seeing that file, that yellow part. Software sure used in killing of Kim Jin. She'd wrecked everything she touched. Across the city, Kim Jae-wook was wrecking himself in a different way. He hadn't left his top floor in 2 weeks, hadn't shaved, could barely remember the last time he'd eaten anything that wasn't liquid Brave stuff from a bottle. Young, please. Dion stood in the door, worry in every line of his face. You need to talk to her. Explain right. I tried. Wook's yell made Dion jump. The whiskey glass in his hand shook. She won't take my calls, won't answer texts. Amara said she'd call the police if I show up at her place again, then try harder. She's right. Wook's voice went dead. I should have told her from the start. I was scared. I thought if I just had more time, if she fell in love with me first, maybe the truth wouldn't matter. maybe she'd forgive me. He laughed bad. I was wrong. You love her more than breathing, which is why she's better off without me. That's underscore. She looks at me like I'm a monster. Dion Wook's voice broke, like everything we had was a lie. And maybe it was, maybe I made it bad from the start. Dion had never seen his hung like this, not even after Jaime's death. The top floor door opened. Mo came in, with food bags, acting the worried cousin perfect. Oprah, you need to eat. I brought soup. I'm not hungry. You're wrecking yourself. She put down the bags, touched his shoulder. This isn't what Jaime would have wanted. Don't. His voice got sharp. Don't talk about him. Mozo's face changed. Something cold under the worry before going back to nice. I'm just worried about you. After Dawn left, after Wook had drunk himself to sleep on the couch, Minso stood at the window looking over Seoul. Her phone buzzed. Unknown. Everything ready. Almost. The woman's open to hurt. Alone. The time is perfect. And your cousin. She looked at Wook's sleeping body. Yuck. Curling her lip. Broken. No use. He won't be a problem. Unknown. Good. We move tomorrow night. Mo deleted the messages, her face in the window showing a smile that never got to her eyes. 7 years ago, she'd sold Zara's software to the top bidder. When Jaime had found her stealing, found she'd been taking Wook's company's money for years, she'd used that same software to set up his killing. Made it look like a rival group. Perfect, clean, except W had never stopped checking. And now he'd found the first maker. The one person who could remake the software, whose smartness Mincio's buyers really wanted. With Wook feeling messed up and Zara alone, sad, open to hurt, now was the perfect time to get rid of them both and take everything. She'd built this big group in the shadows. She deserved to rule it in the open. The next evening, Zara left Amara's place to walk to the store. Just needed air, needed to feel something other than this heavy sad. She didn't see the black van waiting across the street, didn't see the men until they were on her. Hands grabbed her arms, she screamed, fought. Those fight classes finally helpful, but there were too many. Zara. Amara's voice from the Play Store. A cloth pushed over Zara's mouth, sweet chemical, her eyes blurred. The last thing she heard was Amara screaming, phone already at her ear. Then dark took everything. Amara's hand shook as she called, not the police. They'd be too slow. She called the one person who could really help, Diancie. It's Amara. Something's happened. Zara's been taken. She'd barely done the sentence before he stopped her. I'm calling Wukong. Stay inside. Lock the doors. We're coming. Dahan's call pulled Wook from his fog like cold water. Young Zara's been taken. Every keepsake feeling woke up loud. The drink fog burned away, was on his feet already going. Who, don't know. Amara said it was a van, lots of men. Where it outside Amara's building. Wook's mind ran, cutting through sad and guilt to the cold, thinking that had kept him alive in this world. Someone had taken Zara, someone who knew about the software, about Jin, about everything. This is linked to Jin, he said flat. Get everyone, full get. I want every contact, every source, every favor called in now. Now Dahan. The line went dead. Wook stood in his top floor, and for the first time in 2 weeks, he wasn't broken. He was the wolf, and someone had just taken his mate. Nothing else mattered. Not pride, not the past, not even if Zara would ever forgive him. Only getting her back alive. He'd burn Seoul to the ground if he had to. Within 30 minutes, Wook had got every help he had. His top floor became a fight room. Dahan worked 3 phones at once, calling favors from people across Seoul. Street info guys, bad cops, he paid, hackers who owed Wook their lives. Hang, I've got something. Dion pulled up street cam video on his tablet. Black van, no tags. Followed it to an empty warehouse in Guro area. Wook was already going, putting on a gun holder, his hands steady, mind clear like glass. The sad and drink fog had burned away, leaving only the wolf. How many men? At least 6 outside, unknown, inside. Get 15 of our best, full fight gear. We go in 5 minutes. They were getting into big cars when Minso's car screeched into the under garage. OPA, wait. She ran toward them, tablet held to her chest. I have info. Wook turned, eyes flat and scary. What info? I've been following the buyers of the face-spotting software, following the money paths. She pulled up files, hands shaking like real. I know who took Zara, and it's not in Guru, explained fast. The warehouse is a trick. They wanted you to find that spot. She swiped through watch photos. The real stuff is here. A tall, fancy Gangnam business front. They're moving her there now. Wok looked at the pics, gut yelling warning, but need one. Show me. Mo led the cars to a smooth glass tower in Seoul's money area. Every bit in Wok's body shook with fear he wouldn't say. Hold on, Zara, I'm coming. They broke into the building through a back door, met right away fight, pro guards, not street bad guys. Wook went through them like death, hard and good. Every hit, every shot with Dr. Cut. Daehan fought next to him, clearing the way to the top floor. The corner office door was locked. Wok kicked it open, and there she was. Zara sat tied to a chair in the middle of the room, tape over her mouth, eyes wide with fear that turned into big relief when she saw him. His knees almost gave. Zara, look. Her muffled scream came from behind the tape. She moved hard against the ties, trying to warn him. It's Minso Shizano. Mozo's voice came from behind them, cold and funny. Took you long enough. Wook turned slow. MSO stood in the door, gun up and steady, pointed right at Zara's head. Daehan was already reaching for his gun. Don't. Mozo's smile was bad. You're fast, Dean. See, but not faster than a bullet. And I'd hate to take away Wook's little pet before he watches her die. Cousin Wook's voice was deadly calm. What are you doing? What I've been doing for 7 years, OPA, cleaning up loose ends. She walked around them slow, gun never moving. Wook thought distances, angles, chances, all bad. You want to know the truth. Fine, I'll give you the truth. Mo's eyes shone with mean. I sold the software. I set up the deals with the bad groups. And when Jaime found my stealing, found I'd been taking your company's money for years, I had him killed. The words hit like real punches. You were always too soft. Jaman was going to tell on me, turn me in like some regular bad person. She laughed. He had to go. I used the face-spotting software to follow his moves. Hired the best killers money could buy, and made it look like a rival group hit. Perfect. Clean. You killed him. Wook's voice was empty. My brother, our family. I saved us, Mozo yelled. The money I made kept this group alive while you were playing king. I built this empire in the shadows, and now I'm taking it into the light. You're crazy. Maybe. She aimed the gun at Zara, but I'm rich, and once she remakes the software for me buyers, and you're both dead, I'll be hard to touch. The great Wook, the wolf, wrecked by love. How sad. Behind her back, Zara's fingers worked fast. Years of coding had given her quick, exact control. The zip ties were cheap, bad tied. She felt one part give. Minso's finger got tight on the trigger. Zara jumped. The gunshot. Walked through himself in front of her without thinking, without weight. The bullet hit him in the shoulder, turning him side. He went down hard. Wook. Zara's scream was raw. Dahan hit into Minso, knocking her down. The gun slid across the floor. They fought mean. Zara dropped next to Wook, hands pushing hard against the wound. Blood came out between her fingers. No, no, no. Stay with me. I'm okay, he said through the hurt. Good hand up to touch her face. Are you hurt, you dummy? Tears went down her face. You pretty, dumb dummy. I love you, too, he gasped. And even with everything, the blood, the hurt, the mess, he almost laughed. Dahan had Mio tied, zip-tying her hands. More of Wook's men came into the room. Sirens loud in the fog, but Wok only saw Zara, alive and okay, and looking at him like he was worth saving. The police came with lots. Too many cops for Minso to have paid off. Dahan had called them no name, gave him just enough info to get big team. Mio screamed the whole way to the police van. You don't get it. I built this. I made you. Wook. Everything you have is because of me. Wook watched them take her, face like stone. Health people came to him right away. He waved them away. I'm fine, just a scratch. You were shot. Zara grabbed his good arm, mad and scared, making her voice shake. You need a hospital. I've had worse. That's not nice. Even with the hurt coming from his shoulder, even with everything, he smiled, really smiled. Come here. He pulled her close with his not hurt arm, put his face in her hair, breathed her in, alive, safe. I'm sorry, he said rough, for everything, for lying, for not telling you the truth from the start. I was scared. Wook, let me finish. He pulled back just enough to hold her face, making her meet his eyes. You didn't kill Jin. Mio did. Your software was just a tool, a weapon someone else used. That's not your fault. I still built it with good plans to help people. That matters. His voice got strong, quick. You are not set by how others twisted your making. You're set by who you are. Smart, brave, caring. So _strong, it scares me. Tears fell. Wook, you're the woman who taught me I could still feel, still love, still live. His thumb wiped her tears. I don't deserve you. I know that, but I love you anyway. All, needy. I love you. I was so mad, she whispered, so hurt. I thought you'd used me. You had every right to be mad, every right to hate me, but I don't. She pushed her head to his. God help me. I never stopped loving you, even when I wanted to, even when I tried. Sarango, he said, soft, holy, I love you. In any talk, in every timeline, in every kind of this life, I love you. She kissed him then, needy, forgiving, fixing, tasting salt from tears and metal from blood, and under it all, the promise of something real. When they finally stopped, Dion was smiling next to them, Hung Minso talking like a singer. She gave up her buyers, her people, everything. World police, already catching across 6 countries. The software net is being shut down. Wook looked at Zara. It's over. Not quite, she said, mouth set with will. I need to do something. Over the next weeks, Zara became a ghost that visited world courts. She talked against the company's spy net, her tech smarts breaking their law walls. She worked 18-hour days with online safety teams from 5 countries, bit by bit taking apart the bad software code she'd made. It was tiring. Every code line reminded her of what her thing had become. But Wook was there every talk, every court, every late night when she wanted to quit. He sat in the back of courts, arms still in a holder, watching her take back her story. His group changed. No more maybe bad stuff. They became real online safety helpers, using their secret links to hunt bad guys instead of being them. Daehan ran day stuff. Wok did plans and fixing. It wasn't easy. Some of his people left. Some fought his buff. But Wook the Wolf had found something stronger than fear. Goal. 3 months after Minso's catch. After the last court. After the last bad code line was gone from being, Zara and Wook sat on his top floor outside, watching Seoul's sun go down, paint the sky orange and gold. She leaned on him, his good arm around her shoulders. We made it, she said soft. We did. He kissed her head side. What now? She turned to look at him. This man who'd taken a bullet for her, who'd taken apart his big group to build something better, who'd given her back the bits of herself she thought lost forever. Now, she smiled, now we live. He kissed her as the sun set on their old lives and rose on something way better. The Tech Meet Center in Geneva buzzed with power. Zara stood behind stage fixing her jacket, going over her main talk notes one last time. Nervous, Wok came next to her, looking too handsome in a fitted suit. Scared. You'll be great. You always are, says the guy who still can't cook jollof rice to save his life. He grinned. I have other skills. Maybe. You didn't say that last night. Wook, she hit his arm, laughing. The stage boss came. Miss Chuck Woody, you're on in 2. Zara took a deep breath. Wu held her hand, squeezed. Go change the world, he said. Again, she walked onto that stage where hundreds of coders, rule thinkers, and tech bosses waited to hear her talk about careful AI making, about being responsible, about fixing. She told her story, the whole true, the bad stuff, the turning to weapon, the lives lost, the guilt that still woke her some nights, and then she told them about fighting back, about taking apart what she'd built, about choosing to be set not by her worst mess, but by what she did after. The clapping standing lasted 3 minutes. Behind stage after, Wook pulled her into his arms. "Proud of you," he said against her hair. "Proud of us," she fixed, because they'd both been broken, and they'd both chosen to heal together. 6 months later, Zara stood in the lobby of Seoul's big meat center, staring at the huge sign for her main talk when Coda Kills a Coder's Thinking Again. Her book, Raw Hard Look, Fixing, had become a world bestseller. Tech rule classes gave it, coders said it, and somehow no way she changed her biggest shame into her strongest tool for change. From bad news to TED Talks, Amara teased over video from Lagos. "Look at you, I had help." Zara smiled, looking at Wook across the room, deep in talk with meat planners. He'd changed, too, stepped all away from the bad world, leaving Dihan to run real safety stuff while Wook built something all new. Good tech businesses that hired fixed hackers, gave money for coding teach in poor places, gave second tries to people world had given up on. He'd found gold beyond power. They'd moved into a fixed old house in Bukun, old Korean build with new fancy inside. Zara tried planting in their yard. Every plant died big. Wook found it cute. That evening after the meet, Wook said he had to cook dinner. Zara walked into their kitchen and stopped. Candlelight, music, and the clear smell of burned rice. "Oh no," she laughed. "You tried making jollof again." "I watched 3 YouTube lessons this time." She checked the pot. "Stick to your day job, Manwh." About that nickname, Wook turned, and suddenly he was on knee, pulling a soft box from his pocket. Her breath stopped. "I want it to be old." "Wrong." His voice was steady, but his hands shook a bit. "I want to be a one-woman man. Your man forever." "Wook in Korean." She stopped him, tears already going. "Ask me in Korean." His smile was sun-breaking clouds. "Will you marry me?" She answered through cries. "Yes, 1,000 times, yes." He put the ring on her finger. Simple, nice, perfect, and stood holding her tight as she laughed and cried at once. They kissed in their kitchen as Seoul sundown painted everything gold through the windows. To people who'd found each other in dark, who'd lived through cheat and hurt and hard odds, for who'd chosen forgiving, chosen fixing, chosen love. "Say it again," he whispered against her lips. "Say what?" "That you love me." Slowly she said, "I love you." And he spent the rest of the night showing her with words, with touch, with promises kept, just what forever looked like. The end. If this story touched your heart, smash that like button and hit subscribe for more emotional journeys. Now, tell me, have you ever had to forgive someone who hurt you but truly loved you? Drop your story in the comments. Sometimes the hardest love is the most worth fighting for. Bye. See you in the next.